We all have one of those spots in our yard, don't we? That neglected corner behind the shed, that strip of land along the fence, the place you try not to look at, a zone of pure despair, overrun with weeds that seem to be plotting world domination. What if I told you that this nightmare could be transformed into a dream garden bed, a neat, fertile patch that's a joy to behold, and all of it in just one day? Don't believe me? Then watch closely, because today we're about to perform a true gardening miracle. Let's take a look at our patient. These aren't just weeds, they're a miniature jungle, a sea of dandelions, tenacious couch grass, and a dozen other unidentified green invaders. The soil here is hard as rock, and it looks like nothing's grown on it for 100 years. At first glance, it seems like you need a whole crew and a week of back-breaking work. Most people would just throw in the towel, but it's precisely in these neglected, overgrown areas that the greatest potential truly lies. We're going to prove that with the right approach and a few clever tricks, you can work wonders. So, where does any great transformation begin? That's right, with a ruthless clear out. Let's roll up our sleeves and prepare for battle. Our goal at this stage isn't just a cosmetic tidy up. We need to declare total war on weeds and win. And this is where most gardeners make their first and biggest mistake. They grab a shovel and heroically start digging up the whole mess. Seems logical, right? Dig deeper, kill more weeds. But in reality, it's the worst thing you can do. Let's break down why. Firstly, by turning over layers of soil, you bring millions of dormant weed seeds to the surface. They've been waiting for years for their moment, and you're giving them the perfect start. You're literally sowing yourself a new problem for the next month. Secondly, this kind of deep digging disrupts the soil structure and destroys beneficial microorganisms. And thirdly, let's be honest, it's back-breakingly hard work. Your back will thank you, but definitely not in the way you're expecting. We're going to take a different, smarter, and more effective approach. To start, grab a trimmer, scythe, or even a simple pair of pruners. Our task is to cut all the tall green growth right down to the ground. Think of it like shaving a patient before surgery. We're clearing away all the excess so we can clearly see the work area and get to what's most important. The roots. See? It already looks so much better, doesn't it? That oppressive feeling of hopeless jungle is gone. And now for the main secret. Our best friend at this stage isn't a shovel, but ordinary garden forks. Yes, forks. Their tines don't cut roots into small pieces like a shovel blade. Instead, they pry them up and extract them whole. That's the magic. Our technique is simple. We don't dig, we loosen. Stick the fork into the ground to its full depth, rock it back and forth a bit to loosen the soil. Then with one smooth motion, use the fork as a lever and lift an entire section of soil along with the roots. And once you have this clump on your fork, gently shake it. All the good, loose soil falls back onto the bed, and in your hands you're left with the main prize, a tangled ball of couchgrass roots, dandelions, and other invaders. This method allows you to extract up to 90% of the root system. Yes, it might seem a bit slower than swinging a shovel, but in the long run, it saves you weeks of fighting new sprouts. Look at this pile. These aren't just weeds, this is a defeated enemy, and our soil remains in place, its structure undisturbed, ready for the next most crucial stage, transforming it into a fertile paradise. The battlefield is clear. It's time to start creating. Once the growing area is cleared, it's time to prepare the groundwork for our future plants. And this is where we encounter the second big mistake, thinking we can just loosen the soil and start planting. That's not going to work. Look at it. After years of neglect, this soil is poor, compacted, and almost devoid of life. Plants here won't thrive, they'll merely survive. Our goal isn't just to dig, it's to create an entirely new fertile environment. We won't be digging it up. Instead, we're going to build a raised bed right on top, using a layered cake approach. This method is not only incredibly effective, but it also saves a huge amount of effort. So, our first and most surprising ingredient is ordinary cardboard. Yes, just plain cardboard from boxes. We'll lay it over the entire surface of our future garden bed, overlapping the sheets to prevent gaps. Make sure to remove all plastic tape and stickers. Why cardboard? It serves three ingenious functions. Firstly, it acts as a final line of defence, preventing any remaining weeds from pushing through. Secondly, it helps retain moisture in the lower soil layers. And thirdly, over time, it will decompose, becoming food for earthworms and improving the soil structure. Now that the base is ready, let's start building our cake. Lightly moisten the cardboard with water from a watering can, so it settles more firmly against the ground. Next, we'll lay down the main, most nutritious layer. This can be good, well-rotted compost, high-quality organic matter, or even ready-to-use nutrient-rich soil from bags. Don't be stingy. Spread a layer at least 10 or preferably 15 centimetres thick. This is the future home for your plant's roots. It's their all-season buffet. And for the final touch, to make our cake even more airy and moisture retentive, you can add a layer of peat moss or cocoa coir on top. But this isn't strictly necessary. The most important thing is that substantial layer of organic matter on top of the cardboard. Look at what we've created. In just half an hour, that grey, compacted soil has been transformed into a tall, dark, loose, and breathable garden bed. It already looks alive and full of energy. We haven't just prepared the ground. We've created an ideal ecosystem for a thriving start. Now, it's fully ready for the most enjoyable part: planning and planting your garden. And now for the most exciting and creative part of our transformation. We're turning our prepared groundwork into a true design feature. After all, a garden should be productive and beautiful, right? Haphazard planting leads to disorganization, inadequate light for your plants, and makes maintenance a real headache. So our next step is to create a clear structure and form. The first thing that will give your garden bed a finished, neat look is the edging. You can make them from almost anything. The simplest and most budget-friendly option is timber boards. These could be old boards left over from a construction project, or new ones treated with a safe preservative. Simply fasten them together to form a rectangular frame around your bed. An alternative is flat fibre cement boards, which can be dug into the ground along the edges. This looks stylish and is very durable. And if you prefer something more natural, you can even use thick branches or small logs laid out around the perimeter. The main purpose of these borders is to keep your fertile soil sandwich securely in place, preventing it from spreading out after rain or watering. Once the frame is ready, you can finally level the soil inside with a rake. Look how instantly the space is transformed. From a shapeless mound of dirt, it's become a clearly defined, neat, raised garden bed. At this stage, you'll already be itching to plant something. Now we're approaching the moment of planting. But even here, let's not rush. It's best to plan everything in advance. It's important to remember a simple rule. Taller plants, like tomatoes or staked cucumbers, should be planted on the north side of your bed. This way, they won't shade out their shorter neighbours, peppers, lettuces, or herbs. To ensure perfectly straight rows, let's use a little trick. Take 2 sticks and stretch a string between them. Along this string, create your furrows or planting holes. This ensures all your plantings will look ruler straight. It's not just aesthetically pleasing, it's also incredibly convenient for future maintenance. You'll always know exactly where your cultivated plants are growing and where an opportunistic weed might try to sprout. Carefully plant your seedlings, gently spreading out their roots and covering them with loose soil. Don't forget the optimal spacing between plants. They'll need room to grow and thrive. After planting, be sure to water each plant thoroughly at the base. Well, there you have it. Our garden has taken shape, found its life, and truly come alive. But this isn't the final step. Ahead of us lies one very important secret, which will ensure our creation has a long and happy life. And just like that, everything seems to be in place. The plants are in. The garden bed looks perfect. Most people at this stage would simply breathe a sigh of relief and head off for a well-deserved break. But we're going to take one more, final, and arguably the most crucial step. A step that will save us dozens of hours of work down the line. I'm talking, of course, about mulching. So, what exactly is mulching? Simply put, it's covering the surface of your soil with a protective layer of organic material. Think of it like a cozy blanket for your garden bed. And this blanket truly works wonders. Let's dive into why it's so essential. First off, it's your primary defense against weeds. A thick layer of mulch simply blocks sunlight from reaching the soil surface. And without light, weed seeds can't germinate. Say goodbye to tedious weeding. You've just spared yourself from the most tiresome chore in the garden. Secondly, mulch is water's best friend. Like a sponge, it absorbs moisture during watering or rain, preventing it from quickly evaporating under the sun and wind. The soil underneath always remains consistently moist. This means you'll need to water your garden much less frequently. You save not just time but precious water too. Third, mulch protects your soil. It prevents it from overheating in the summer heat and becoming too cold on chilly nights. This creates a stable microclimate ideal for healthy root development. What's more, it prevents a hard soil crust from forming after rain, ensuring your soil always remains loose and aerated. Finally, over time, organic mulch slowly decomposes, transforming into additional nutrients for your plants and a feast for beneficial soil, microorganisms and worms. You're not just protecting your garden bed, you're actively fertilizing and improving it year after year. So what can you use for mulch? The options are endless. Freshly mown and slightly dried grass from your lawn works perfectly. Straw or hay are excellent choices. You can also use wood chips, bark, or even fallen leaves. For our purposes, we'll use the most readily available option, grass clippings. Spread it in an even layer about 5 to 7 centimeters thick across the entire surface of the bed, carefully working around the base of your plants. It's important not to pile the mulch too tightly against the stems, leaving them some room to breathe. Take a look at the finished result. Your garden bed is now not only beautiful and functional, it's protected and it's self-sufficient. Now you can be confident that your hard work won't go to waste. You haven't just created a garden bed, you've established a small, stable and healthy ecosystem that will reward you with bountiful harvests for minimal effort. Now, your job is truly done. And here we are, the moment of truth. Let's cast our minds back for a second to this morning. A dull, lifeless patch, completely overrun with weeds. A place you'd rather avoid. Now, take a look at what we have here. A neat, dark garden bed with perfectly even rows of young plants, all covered with protective mulch. This isn't just a patch of dirt. It's a true oasis, bursting with life and the promise of a bountiful harvest. It's hard to believe this is the same place. And what's truly astonishing, all of this took just one day. No magic involved, just a clear plan and the right actions. What a turnaround, right? So remember this, transforming even the most neglected corner isn't some impossible feat. It's simply a logical sequence of steps, accessible to everyone. The key is simply not to be afraid to start. Thanks for watching this video until the very end. If you enjoyed this garden transformation, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on new ideas. And now, a question for you. What's the most neglected spot in your yard or garden that you'd like to transform first? Let us know in the comments below. I'd love to read your stories.